Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley. I'm an exercise physiologist, and today I want to be talking to you about loneliness. Have you ever felt lonely? Have you ever felt alone? Have you ever felt like, even though you were around a bunch of people, you felt like you couldn't connect with them, or you just felt like you were on the outside? Have you ever sat alone with yourself and had a lot of time on your hands and felt like you didn't know what to do with yourself, or whether anybody cared about you? I think loneliness is a very normal human emotion that we humans go through at different times and periods of our life. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what loneliness is and what we can do to kind of get through it. Okay, so I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm an exercise person, an exercise physiologist, and I just have thoughts on the subject. So as an EP, as an exercise professional, exercise physiologist, I'll say that physical activity, exercise, really helps alleviate the feelings of loneliness. So research shows that going outside, being in fresh air, getting, that fresh air, going for a walk, going for a jog, really helps to alleviate the feeling of loneliness. Now, living in 2024, really in the past 25 years or so, loneliness has been on the rise. We have so much technology now and so many ways to connect with many people around the world. However, loneliness keeps going up and up. Why is this? So, I got to thinking, because I too am in this period or season of loneliness or feeling lonely. Yes, that's right. I feel lonely, and how you deal with those feelings, and really any feelings that you have in life, can be the biggest game changer. So I think the number one thing is to kind of assess your life and realize your feelings, understand, try to be understanding with yourself in whatever season or state you're in, and then, have a larger perspective on the subject. Okay, so let me, explain a little bit on that. So being lonely or feeling alone should not give us the excuse to fill that time or fill that void with things that are unhealthy for us. We know what those things are, right? This can go into self-destructive behaviors, maybe filling your time or your life and spending your energy on relationships or people that are kind of draining you, or could possibly change the trajectory of your life just because you're lonely, just because you want to feel seen or heard or validated by another human being in that moment. Could be destructive behaviors, could be overeating, could be, drinking, using drugs, using a lot of different things as bad habits, creating these bad habits basically during your periods of loneliness. So first of all, you want to realize, okay, how do I feel? I'm actually really lonely. You can ask yourself why you're lonely. A lot of times it's because we're not reaching out to others and we're expecting them to reach out to us. That could be a reason. But maybe your soul, maybe you are just going through a certain period in your life where your spirit, or the Holy Spirit, if you're a Christian, is trying to get you alone, trying to get you to be quiet and alone, and you're seeing it as loneliness, but actually it's him kind of pulling you away to get closer to him, and so that he can show you what he wants you to do in the next season of your life. So I put a post on Facebook kind of on this topic, and I had some friends reaching out to me asking me if I was okay. I am totally fine, and I just wanted to kind of start the conversation of loneliness and how in different ways that we feel it, and or different times of our life that we feel loneliness, and how we can really address it, I want to say professionally, but address it, with confidence and understanding, and knowing that it's just a season. Now, I have felt lonely, like to the depths of my soul, through different times of my life. And I felt close to people, and and loved and felt love to the depths of my soul at different times in my life. So knowing that life has those ebbs and flows, that you're going to have those ups and downs, it's completely normal. And again, not falling into those temptations or sins or just negative mindsets that can change your life completely just because, and not always in a positive way, just because you want to alleviate feeling alone or feeling lonely, okay? So, hopefully that gives you something to think about. Hopefully that helps you to feel like you're less alone. I think really the attempt of me making this video is to make myself feel less alone. And I feel like I have matured in that, I don't feel sorry for myself anymore. I'm the type of person that, if you're hurt, you should cry, right? But, when you're tough and you try to be tough for so long, you kind of push past those feelings and you start to get mad maybe, or you start to get bitter. And really these emotions are not healthy for us either. So sometimes it's healthier to just cry and to allow yourself to feel weak, allow yourself to feel that loneliness, and draw close to the Creator in those times, even if you feel like you don't want to have anything to do with that. So it's kind of like when you're a kid and you're being disciplined, or you're being prepared for something. Maybe if you're going to play a sport professionally, it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of sacrifice, because you're not going to be spending time with friends all the time. You're going to be doing your homework, practicing, working out, stretching your body, and making sure in your mind, and making sure that you are ready to be the best at that thing, if that's your chosen path, right? So it's the same thing with life. If you want a specific outcome, if you have a goal in mind, if you want to become a certain person, sometimes you're going to have to learn how to deal with these periods of feeling alone, okay? And realizing that, you have to be constructive in those times, and it's actually really important that you do that. So in my posts, I mentioned a couple things you can do, and I'll just talk about it here. Catching up on sleep, or maybe creating a healthy sleep schedule. A lot of us just sleep whenever we're tired. We spend a lot of time on social media, on our phones, doing research, whatever it is you're doing, but trying to get to bed at a reasonable hour. So like maybe around 10 or before. Make yourself go to bed. Make sure you're getting 8, 9, maybe even 10 hours of sleep. For us women, we deal with a lot emotionally, and we need more sleep than men. Studies are showing that. So make sure that you are getting that sleep. Prioritizing movement, exercise, stretching your body, getting proper nutrition. Don't take your negative emotions out on eating the wrong foods, because you're just going to feel guilty later, and it's not going to help you get any closer to your goals. Okay, so having this virtue, this temperance, this self-control that I've talked to you guys about in videos past, you can look those up, is really important in these times, because this is where your true character, I believe, shows. And it's okay to not always look the best, or like you're on top, or your life is going super great and you have tons of things to tell people about that you're doing. It's okay that you don't always have that situation, or you don't have like a bunch of wonderful news to tell people. Sometimes just living and being alive and living the life that you're living is enough, as long as you have that peace inside of you, and you're not comparing yourself to others, and you're not hoping for something that someone else has, because you never know what they're going through in their life, regardless if they have so many people and wonderful things around them, or if they don't. It's all a matter of happiness and really fulfillment and contentment on the inside of us. So instead of looking to the outside, try to work from the inside out in order to achieve those attributes. So virtue is definitely a big one. So among US adults, about 1 in 3 say that they are lonely at least once a week, and 1 in 10 Americans say they feel lonely every day. This is from 2023. So, that just goes to show that feelings come and feelings go, right? We can go from feeling lonely or sad or whatever to feeling happy in the next moment. And again, I really feel like it's oftentimes determined by what happens in our life. We get a raise, we're happy, or we get, a bug bite or a mosquito bite on our leg and it's really bothering us and itching. It's silly, but whatever, that could bring us down. So having our emotions under control with that temperance, being able to realize the emotion, realize what you're going through, and just kind of waiting it out and nourishing yourself while you're waiting it out, not going to the mall and spending a ton of money. Maybe you could go and treat yourself, right? But you have to know yourself. That's the thing. For me, when I'm upset and I'm dealing with something, I don't drink alcohol because it makes me feel worse and I don't get relief from it. So, if I do have a drink, it's usually when I'm celebrating or I'm happy because it tends to intensify whatever feeling that I am already going through. So if you're someone who would spend irrational amounts of money when you're lonely or upset, then it's probably not a good idea to go to the mall. But if you're someone who has that kind of self-control built and you're like, hey, I'm going to buy myself one thing and it's going to kind of fill the time, because you do have to wait for that loneliness to pass, and I don't want to say embrace it, but just kind of be okay with yourself and let your soul, your spirit, who you really are, go through whatever it has to go through until you get that realization and it kind of gets you out of that loneliness, whatever that negative mindset is. So, kind of like when you're watching a movie and you're like waiting for something to happen, like who is that and what's going to happen, and you have to wait to see how the story unfolds. You have to wait to see, how the plot twists, and I guess you can decide what kind of movie you're in by our decisions and by the way we create our life. But just for conversation's sake, I think, just waiting it out and not getting so focused on the feeling of loneliness. So I'll give you a Bible verse. There are tons of Bible verses on loneliness. And as a Christian, before I tell you, I'll just mention, as a Christian, you can also feel lonely. And I think a lot of Christians maybe leave the faith, or they get disappointed in God. I know I have, because, you feel lonely and you think, well, if I'm a good Christian and I love God, I would never feel lonely, right? Or maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm doing something wrong and I'm being punished and feeling like I'm alone. So again, I really believe now that feeling lonely is God's way of saying, hey, I want you to be alone so that I can talk to you and that I can grow you, and don't fight against it, because it's not going to feel like this forever, right? And also, I have gone through periods where I struggled with believing what the Bible said to me. But if you really have it set in your mind that you want to follow God, the Creator, Jesus, and you want to be a Christian, you just have to keep saturating yourself with the words of God, and that's with the Bible. So I'll read a Bible verse over and over and over again, and sometimes the first read or the second read, I'm like, this is ridiculous, or I've read this before, or why can't I just have my needs met, but I'm telling you, the more you read it, just like you eat healthy food, once it's not really going to change you. The more you consume it, the more you give yourself that life, those words of life, or the food that's going to give you life, the more it's going to change you, and the better you're going to feel. And on one day you're going to be like, wow, my thoughts are changing. The way that I see this is totally changing, and we have to keep doing it, right? We have to keep eating healthy. We have to keep exercising. We have to keep reading God's word. We have to keep doing these things our whole life long, and really look for those seasons of feeling alone or having periods of loneliness as opportunities to really refine what we want and our faith. It's hard, guys. I know it's really hard. And, you know, there are times where I cry, and I know you do too, maybe not, in the shower, when you go to bed, you know, and there's a real temptation to feel sorry for yourself because you're like, why should I feel this way? Let me tell you, people can have billions of dollars, people can have cars, they can have, you know, everything you think you're supposed to have in this life to be happy and still feel alone, right? And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't strive to have nice things, or, you know, but we shouldn't be putting like our entire happiness and security in external happiness or external things. And it's tough because we have to continue this for our entire life. And once you feel like you've got it, you know, then the challenge is to keep it. It's that perseverance. So the Bible verse is Isaiah 41:10, and it's, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, and I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Okay? And that's what we need to believe. And that's what we need to tell ourselves. And that's what we need to remind ourselves, you know, every single day, so that we can get through whatever it is that we're going through. All right, so studies done on exercise, of course, the group aspect is really going to help. So a lot of researchers is pointing to group fitness, group exercise, people building connections through that as feeling not lonely. Okay, that could be one way. Yes, another study says moderate and high physical activity were associated with 15 to 30% lower likelihoods of loneliness and social isolation, again, because of the group aspect. But, you know, don't be afraid to be alone. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself in that way. When I moved to North Carolina, I moved by myself. You know, I made friends, but you know, I would go to the movies alone. I would go eat alone. I would do a lot of things alone. And I do that still now if I have to. If I want to do something and no one's available, I do it alone. And having confidence in that and not making such a big deal about it is something that I've grown through, and that wasn't always like that, you know, at the beginning. And it's not ideal. You know, I like being with others, and I don't mind being alone as well. But I think, you know, dealing with, I guess, not having hope for the future, that sucks. And, you know, when you get into these negative mindsets of nothing's ever going to change, if you say these kind of things to yourself, or even if you're hearing this kind of tape being played in your mind, and you'll hear it for a little while, if you're like me, and you'll hear it, and then you'll question it and be like, hey, why am I thinking this way? What is making me think this way? How can I change my outlook? And then maybe try to take the thought out of your mind and look at it from different angles. Look at it from different viewpoints. Look at it with a different perspective. And so how can I change the way I think about a situation? I'll give you another silly example. So like, say you're, you know, I have a lot of challenges when I drive because I get aggravated, but say you're, you have to be rerouted through a different way to your job or something one morning because, you know, there's too much traffic or whatever, and you're frustrated about it, and you do take that other way and you go on your way, and you find out later that there was a huge accident on the way, that if you would have gone that way around the same time, that's when that accident happened. So who knows, you may have been involved, you may have not, but it's that kind of thing. Having gratitude, being grateful for the things that we don't always see, and focusing on the things that we can hold on to and we can adhere to, with what's in our control, right, in every season of our life. So again, I hope this was encouraging to you. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for listening to me. If you want to like this video, you can like it. Please do comment, share it with your friends, or share it with someone that maybe needs to hear what I have to say about this subject of loneliness. You can donate to my channel as well. I have links below, so you can do just that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay healthy and take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys. God bless. Bye.